The Tijuana cartel was in chaos. The Arellano Felix brothers, once masters of the drug trade, were falling. Ramon, the enforcer, lay dead in a shootout. Benjamin, the strategic mind, was captured, his reign of terror over. Into this void stepped a figure few had anticipated, their sister, Enedina. She was an unlikely successor, trained not in the art of violence, but in the cold logic of accounting. Yet, Enedina possessed a steely resolve inherited from her brothers, a ruthlessness masked by an unassuming demeanor. The cartel, she decided, would not crumble. It would evolve. Enedina's rise was as swift as it was unexpected. She consolidated power, her authority unquestioned. Her brothers had ruled through fear and bloodshed, their brutality a spectacle. Enedina's reign was different, more insidious. She understood that violence, while necessary, was also a weakness, a beacon to law enforcement. Her focus would be on efficiency, on maximizing profits while minimizing risk. The cartel, under her guidance, would become a leaner, more sophisticated criminal enterprise. Enedina's education in accounting, once seen as a curious anomaly in a family steeped in violence, became her most potent weapon. She reorganized the cartel's finances, creating a labyrinthine system of shell companies and offshore accounts. Money laundering, once a haphazard affair, became a precise science. Profits soared, flowing like the narcotics that fueled the empire. But Enedina's transformation of the cartel went beyond mere bookkeeping. She understood that information was as valuable as cocaine or methamphetamine. She cultivated a network of informants, bribing officials, corrupting cops, and turning enemies into assets. Her reach extended into the highest echelons of power, ensuring the cartel's continued impunity. Those who dared to cross her, who mistook her quiet demeanor for weakness, soon learned the depths of her ruthlessness. Their disappearances were swift, their bodies never found, a chilling reminder of the price of betrayal. The drug trade was a game of strategy, a deadly game of chess played on a board stretching from the mountains of Colombia to the streets of America. Enedina, with her sharp mind and cold-blooded pragmatism, proved to be a grandmaster. She forged alliances with other cartels, recognizing that cooperation, even with rivals, could be more profitable than endless war. She diversified the cartel's portfolio, expanding into human trafficking and extortion, exploiting every opportunity for profit. Her control over the smuggling routes, the arteries of the drug trade, was absolute. She employed sophisticated methods using fishing boats, cargo planes, even submarines to move her illicit cargo. Her network of corrupt officials ensured that shipments crossed borders with ease, evading the ever-watchful eyes of law enforcement. Enedina's reign was a masterclass in criminal logistics, a testament to her strategic brilliance. Under Enedina's leadership, the Tijuana cartel tightened its grip on the flow of narcotics into the United States. Cocaine, the cartel's traditional mainstay, continued to generate vast profits. But Enedina, ever the pragmatist, recognized the growing demand for methamphetamine, a cheaper, more addictive drug. She invested heavily in production, building clandestine labs in the remote reaches of Mexico, flooding the market with crystal meth. The human cost of her empire was staggering. Addiction rates soared, tearing apart families and communities. Violence, fueled by turf wars and the insatiable demand for drugs, spiraled out of control. Yet Enedina remained unmoved, her conscience untroubled by the suffering she inflicted. She was a creature of the drug trade, her soul stained with the blood and misery it wrought. Enedina's reign, though seemingly absolute, came at a steep price. The violence that had always been a part of the drug trade escalated, a maelstrom of brutality unleashed by her ambition. Her enemies, sensing weakness in the wake of her brother's downfall, launched attacks, testing her resolve. The streets of Tijuana ran red with blood, the victims caught in the crossfire of a war they did not understand. Even within her own family, loyalty was a fragile thing. Betrayal lurked around every corner, a constant threat to her power. Her own nephew, Fernando Sanchez Arellano, known as El Ingeniero, challenged her authority, seeking to seize control of the cartel. The ensuing power struggle, a bloody internal conflict, further weakened the organization, fracturing the empire she had fought so hard to build. Despite her ruthlessness and business acumen, Enedina could not escape the inevitable decline of the Tijuana cartel. The Mexican government, under pressure from the United States, launched a crackdown on drug trafficking. The cartel's leadership, once considered untouchable, found themselves hunted by both law enforcement and rival gangs. The empire, built on a foundation of violence and corruption, began to crumble. Enedina's own fate remains shrouded in mystery. Some believe she was killed in a shootout with authorities, her reign of terror brought to a violent end. Others claim she escaped, disappearing into the labyrinthine world of the drug trade, her vast fortune protecting her from justice. The truth, like so much else about Enedina Arellano Felix, remains elusive, a testament to her enduring power, even in the face of defeat. The legacy of Enedina Arellano Felix is a complex and troubling one. She was a woman who defied expectations, rising to power in a world dominated by men. She was a shrewd businesswoman transforming the Tijuana cartel into a sophisticated criminal enterprise. But she was also a ruthless criminal, responsible for untold suffering and bloodshed. Her story is a reminder that the drug trade is not just a man's world. Women, too, are capable of wielding immense power and influence in this shadowy realm, and like their male counterparts, they are willing to resort to extreme measures to protect their interests. Enedina's reign may be over, but her story serves as a chilling reminder of the enduring power of the drug cartels and the human cost of their illicit trade. The violence that defined Enedina's reign continues to plague Tijuana and other border towns. The cartels, though weakened, are far from defeated. They continue to recruit new members, exploiting poverty and desperation to fuel their ranks. The flow of drugs into the United States continues unabated, feeding the insatiable demand that drives the cycle of addiction and violence. The fight against the cartels is a complex and dangerous one. It requires a multifaceted approach, addressing the root causes of drug trafficking such as poverty and inequality, while also strengthening law enforcement and judicial institutions. But perhaps most importantly, it requires a recognition that the drug trade is not just a Mexican problem, but a global one, fueled by demand from consumers in the United States and other developed countries. Enedina Arellano Felix remains an enigma, her true nature hidden behind a veil of secrecy and speculation. Was she a cold-blooded killer driven by greed and ambition? Or was she a product of her environment, forced into a life of crime by circumstance? The answers, like so much else about her life, are lost in the shadows of the drug trade. Her story is a reminder that the drug trade is not a black and white world of heroes and villains. It is a world of moral ambiguity, where the lines between good and evil are blurred, and where even the most ruthless criminals can inspire a strange mix of fear and fascination. Enedina Arellano Felix, the Queenpin of the Tijuana cartel, will continue to cast a long shadow over the drug war, her legacy a chilling reminder of the human cost of this illicit trade. The Tijuana cartel, once a dominant force in the drug trade, is now a shadow of its former self. Weakened by internal strife, government crackdowns, and the rise of rival cartels, its future remains uncertain. Some analysts believe it will eventually fragment into smaller, less powerful gangs. Others argue that it will adapt and evolve, finding new ways to exploit the insatiable demand for drugs. The cartel's fate is inextricably linked to the broader drug war. As long as there is demand for drugs, there will be organizations willing to supply them, no matter the cost in human life. The fight against the cartels is a long and difficult one, requiring a sustained commitment from governments, law enforcement agencies, and civil society. Only by addressing the root causes of drug trafficking, such as poverty, inequality, and corruption, can we hope to break the cycle of violence and addiction that has plagued Mexico and other parts of the world for far too long. The story of Enedina Arellano Felix is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the seductive power of wealth, the corrosive influence of corruption, and the devastating consequences of violence. It is a story that should give us pause, forcing us to confront the dark underbelly of our own societies, the insatiable demand for drugs that fuels the cartel's power. Enedina's reign may be over, but her legacy lives on, a chilling testament to the enduring allure of the drug trade and the human capacity for both great evil and surprising resilience. Her story is a warning from the past, a call to action for the present, and a stark reminder that the fight against the cartels is far from over.